In this video, I just want to walk you through the survey so that you're comfortable with it as you complete it at the polling place. First, as soon as you complete one survey, find the next person who comes out of the polling place and administer the survey to them. Be polite, of course. Make sure your name badge is showing so they see your UMass Dartmouth affiliation. And then greet them however you'd like. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, whatever's comfortable for you. And after that, read this beginning script exactly as it's written. It's very important, particularly this last sentence, that you read it exactly as the way it is. That fulfills our obligation to the Institutional Review Board regarding informed consent. First question is here. First, I'd like to ask you a few questions about town meeting. Did you vote for any candidates for town meeting today? You're just going to mark people's responses with either a check or an X in the appropriate box. As such, we prefer you use any color ink except for black. Blue or red are best because it's easier to read them afterwards when we have to code the data. On this first question, if they answer no, then you're just going to skip down out of the box. If they answer yes, then you're going to do this follow-up question. Approximately how many of the town meeting candidates did you vote for? Did you vote for all of them, most of them, just a few? It's important that you read this response set to them, and they'll give you an answer, and you just check it. Now, it may be the case that they tell you a number rather than answering with all of them, most of them, or just a few. If that's the case, just write the number in here, and you can leave this part blank. We'll figure out later whether that's all of them, most of them, or a few of them. The next question, do you feel the elected town meeting members from your precinct represent your interests? Again, just check it. It's likely that you're going to have some respondents who give you some kind of answer in the middle. Well, some of them do, some of them don't. They do on some issues, not on others, and so forth. Any kind of a mixed answer like that, you just mark neutral. If they give you something a little bit that doesn't fit into neutral or it isn't just a kind of depends issue, then you can mark it other and then write in exactly what they want to say there. Next question, can you recall the length of term of town meeting members? They're likely to give you this in years. If that's the case, you can just write that in. If they tell you something in months, then you can write in months, but otherwise if it's years, just the number is fine. Can you recall how many members there are on the select board? Again, just write in their response there. Next box, can you recall the names of any of the candidates who ran for select board this election? It's important here to know that you are not supposed to read these names to them, nor are you to help them or prompt them or give them any kind of clues. We're looking for their recall on these names. The second thing about these names that's important to understand is that really we are looking for a last name that's correct. We don't really care if they don't know the first name or if they get the first name wrong. What we're looking for is a correct response for Gracie, Fentress, or Taglianetti. If they have the name correct, if they say it correct, just give them a check mark. If they come close, and you know what they're saying, it's clear to you in your judgment that they are speaking of a particular candidate, but they don't say the name correctly. So if they say Fentresh or Tagliatelli or something like that, then you can mark came close but didn't quite say it right. If they give you a name that's not on this list but is clearly, and it's not even close to any of these, and it may be say they give you a school committee name or something like that, then you can write that in the list down here. All right, now the next box is a little bit more complicated, so let me walk you through this by reading the script. Next, I'm going to read a list of factors that may have potentially influenced your vote choice in today's election, both for town meeting and the select board. As I run through the list, please indicate with a yes or no whether this factor influenced your vote choice today. Let's start with town meeting candidates. Did any of these factors influence your vote choice? Now you'll see the prompt here, check off town meeting column for yes. So at this point where you finish reading this sentence, you go down to this column right here for town meeting. You read each of these and you check whether the person says, yes, that influenced my vote choice today. So knowing a candidate, and they say yes, check it. Someone recommended a candidate. They say no, leave it blank. Recognizing the candidate's name, they say yes, you check it, and so on and so forth. Now when you get to how a candidate has voted at town meeting, that's the last one we're going to ask for town meeting. The shaded boxes are not going to be responses that we ask for this town meeting side. So as soon as you get through the town meeting options, you're going to go back up here and read that second part. Now, how about the select board? Did any of these factors influence your vote for select board? And then you go down to the select board column. Again, reading through each of these options, skipping these two that are shaded. Those are really directed towards town meeting. And then skipping down and reading the rest of these. Okay, again, marking an X or a check mark. and any of the ones that they agree influence their vote choice. You'll note too that right down here, there's a kind of a reminder of the prompt. So you're going to say a candidate's lawn sign, did that influence your vote choice? Make sure you read that. One of the things we're trying to avoid is people just saying that they saw a lawn sign or they did get a mailing. We're interested to know whether that influenced their vote choice. And if there's any confusion in their mind, if they ask or they say, oh, well, I saw a lawn sign, you may want to remind them that the question is whether that lawn sign influenced their vote choice. Make sure that's the frame that they have in mind as they answer if they seem at all confused about it. Now, there may be that they volunteer something else when you say, are there any other factors that affected your vote choice that we missed? If so, you can just write them in this space down here. The last part's the demographic questions. Pretty straightforward. Finally, we'd like to ask a few demographic questions for research purposes. How often would you say you vote in town elections? Always or almost always, sometimes or rarely. Make sure, again, you read the response set so they know what they're aiming for, and then check the appropriate box. What is your current party registration? They should know this because they just picked out a ballot based on it. So you can just click the box that's appropriate. If they say independent, then we're going to have a follow-up. Do you identify more with one party? Right? And they may say yes, Democrats. They may say yes, Republicans. Or they may say, no, not really, in which case you check that. Okay. Then we have education and age. What is the highest level of education you have completed? There's no need to read the response sets here. Just let them volunteer responses. Say, oh, well, I have a college degree, or I finished high school, but I took some college, and so forth. And you can mark whatever is appropriate response. And then finally, what is your age? And whatever they tell you, you can just enter that into the box there. Note that we have some special notations at the bottom. So if somebody says, I just don't know. For instance, over here, how often would you say you vote in elections? They just say, I have no idea. You can just enter a DK in next to the question, and so we'll know what that's going to be coded as. Similarly, RF is for refuse. So if you ask what is your age and they say none of your business, then you can just put an RF right next to it. Or for some reason some question seems to you in your mind not applicable for them to answer, then you just put an NA next to it. Make sure as you finish your surveys that they go into the correct envelope. The envelope's going to have your name and the polling place, and that will allow us to understand which precinct the survey goes with, and we can then track that data.